Who'd have thought a small two-man fighter would be so big? Well, I guess I didn't think of that. Here's what I've got. It is from Babylon 5, an old series back in the 90s. It was pretty well written, and they had a couple of very interesting fighter concepts. A single-man X-Wing fighter and a two-man X-Wing heavy fighter. The heavy fighter is the one that I really liked. It had very aggressive lines, and it looked a little bit more like it was capable of doing stuff rather than a little tiny one-man fighter. I'll show you what I've got. Of course, the reveal's got to be slow. No, there's part of it. The nose, I'm not entirely happy with, because it's a whole bunch of geometric lines that don't quite add up, and I might work with that a little bit more. The sides turned out okay, even though the cargo bays kind of appear through the sides. The scoops I added to hide the fact that it's not really an X-Wing, and you can see the ramps that make it up. I would love to have some sort of angled pieces that look more like wings. The landing gear was really quite painful, and I did not know what I was doing with it until I found out that the small Deimos wings, the thin ones, they're thinner than these Nova wings, and that thickness made a difference on these guys. So I had to get something that was thin and small and could hide away. And this is from Avon Tech's really stupid blue glowing cylinder, but it worked out. And of course, the landing gear's not perfect. It kind of pokes through. But hey, at least it looks like it could actually fold into something. As far as the landing bay, well, I did not want anything interfering with the bottom. It ruins the lines, and it makes it difficult to hide. So using one-of-a-kind screen doors, I have to jump for it. Oh, I know. If I was in a heavy gravity, that would be terrible. These things here are Deritech, and they're the closest to those angled fins that weren't overly large. So I chose those. Doing the nacelles, the engines, of course, aren't anything close to what it was like in the original vehicle, but they were small enough to be relatively okay. Each one of these nacelles is actually a different size, which was an accident, but kind of fortuitous, because one of the things that kind of gives is an emphasis on its sloping nature. You can see it's an extra few meters wider. Now I've added a landing bay to either side, yes, that you've got to jump for. Lots of melded parts here, using lots of, let's see if I can find them hiding out. There they are. Avon Tech blocks. If you get too many of them, which I surely have, it will lead to a laggy condition inside of the shipbuilder. Does not seem to affect anything else. To get this extra wide Deimos cowling, I used a Gellibrand's Specials, which is a hab snap. Allows you to increase the number of snaps to a particular front or rear facing snap. And this one melds in fairly well, although you can see where the step is. And so I decided to hide that a bit with the scoop or retro pockets, whatever you want to call them. I have to rethink. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I must have accidentally deleted that one. That's probably from the size of it all. That gave me a lot of errors building it. And it looks like I'll need to go back to the drawing board on that. Okay, let's go on inside. Again, reach for the skies. Okay, nothing special here. Just call it the airlock. Too bad the ladder's going the wrong way. And I'll probably turn this into some sort of armory. No, it's just having another problem. These are all actually doors, and I don't know what's caused it. Either it is the elevator, and I chose the wrong pointing doors, or something with the engine with the number of blocks. So I'll have to go through that. As you saw, the first deck was the infirmary. Second deck, for me, as usual, is the cell blocks. Hey, at least there's nobody in it this time. I've got a second set of cell blocks up on the top floors. The living habitat, see that there is actually a door here, it's just disappeared. The living habitat is Spartan, to say the least. There's nothing to it except it's a 3x1 habitat with a small control room attached to it. However, I did add a captain's cabin, so I guess that worked out. Companionway to the cockpit. Looking out over the nose. Okay, now we go back here. I don't normally put a prisoner's cell block next to something valuable like the cockpit, but I did this time. I had intended to block it off, but I said, why not? Might help me get to the elevator if I need to. And finally, the airlock and jail cell. I must have picked the wrong brig. That's a Tayo product that doesn't identify that it is also a brig, so I've got to fix that, because those brigs aren't part of the useful habs. Most of the time spent on this build was the damn wings. Oh boy, those wings gave me nothing but trouble. It wasn't the wings' fault. It was the landing gear. Oops. The landing gear would not meet up with the landing bay, and so I had to redo it several times. Those angled fins do clip into the ground, but luckily they are basically not there. You can clip right through them, so they don't block anything. Okay, we got okay light. Let's see what we look like. I colored the cockpit to make it a bit more looking like a scaled cockpit, which probably helps a little bit because it's so out of scale when it comes to what the size of the ship should be. You can see the lights quite nicely. And strobe up top, can't see it, but it's there. Now let's see if I can bring up the guns. Oops. As soon as I push the right button. Oh, they got the guns, all right. Nothing special. I probably should put fast-firing guns on it. Okay, let's see what it looks like from the front. Why not? There we go. Bet you I'll be disappointed. Sorry, I got shaky hands. It's causing me some trouble. The guns are mounted in the nose, as they are in the TV show, with one single Novatech gun mount. I think that's what it's a 6-gun mount, something like that. The scoops, like I said, or the retro rockets, hide the fact that the transition is ramps and not a real swept wing. I hope some modder guy decides to put in some swept wings. That would be nice. The retro rockets on the end are Avon Tech scoops, really tiny. You can hardly see them. They don't quite match up. I have not figured out where to put a turret or 2 or 3 without breaking up the lines. So I'll have to think of that. And that's the problem with working on a model of what is supposed to be a fighter with fighter-like characteristics in a Class C 5 or 6 deck spaceship. It just doesn't work out logically. Maybe I can go back to the drawing board and make one that's smaller, maybe only 3 decks instead. Anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. I sure didn't.